Hi, I'm Jamie.
I'm Jen.
Welcome to our podcast, All Things Unbroken.
Life breaks us in ways we never expect, but God rebuilds us in ways we could never imagine.
So come hang with us as we talk about relationships, motherhood, wellness, grief, recovery,
And the slow, beautiful process of becoming unbroken. Hello.
hello.
Good afternoon-ish. Midday.
Yes, good afternoon. What's up? We need a casual, like,
What's
yo,
up?
sup.
What's up? So
Anyway,
how is would you like to go first? Just a little recap of your morning, or would you like, why don't you tell us about your morning, Jamie? Would you like
okay,
to? Okay.
sure, yeah. I don't think I slept super great last night, so I didn't just like pop up and do my normal things, but my husband got our son to school and I did a little bit of work, had some breakfast, and then I had to go take the kids to their dentist appointment. So I did that, and then I came home and I did some more work, and that's about it. Nothing exciting.
How are you feeling?
I'm here. No, we don't have to talk
Okay,
about
no.
that. No,
No,
tell
we
me
do.
about your morning.
Okay. We can pause on that, but I'm
Okay.
just saying that because sometimes we go through stuff and you can say, I'm here. So that's a good, very productive morning, by the way. My morning was good. I woke up because, as everyone will realize, and you know this, I am an early riser. So I woke up about 4:30, but I did not get out of bed until 5. So that's a plus. I actually slept till after 4. But I got up and I was a little anxious waking up, just because of the holidays coming and we're having some company next week. But I got up and I got some movement in. I sat down, I did like 5 minutes Bible. I just literally, sometimes it's literally 5 minutes. I read two verses and I get up, but I try to do that.
Mm.
But while I was reading, my little darling poked her head out at 5:07 a.m.
Oh no.
So I was like, hello. And so she woke up with me, but we made it work. We came upstairs and we cuddled a little bit. And then I go, okay, I'm going to go on elliptical. She's like, can I have a show? I'm like, no shows yet. I don't like to give her shows and stuff. When she first wakes up, I try like weekends, I'm easier. But anyways, so I made her like just sit and I did the elliptical 20, I did a core for 10. And then she sat and talked to me and we hung out, made it work. I was getting everything together. I actually got on my chores early, like where I was getting some dusting and stuff done, and all of a sudden it popped up to where I realized I had a doctor's appointment that I thought was in December.
Mm.
So you can imagine, like, okay, did got that all situated. My husband's working from home today. Um, Went to the doctor, spoke with you a little bit. It was a good appointment. I wasn't ready for it, but it was just one of those ones like I have not had a primary care provider in years. If
Mm.
no doctors were in local, everything's like in the big city. So I actually went, I got my blood panels done. They're going to go through that. I'm going to try to like reset this year. 42 is it. Then I came home and I ate a couple eggs and here we are. So I pivoted a lot today because I'm not going to get my 2 mile run in. I'm not going to do the things, but I'm focusing on what I am doing. And also, I forgot this morning in my early rising, I had taken everything out. Now I'm like, whoops. So I got to add that into the mowing and the goat pen cleaning before 4. But here we are. You
Nice.
can tell I'm a little anxious about that. But have you ever done that where you like do something and then you're like, oh, and then you go back and you're like, oh, now I have to fix this? I don't know. It's a mom thing, but
Yeah, I remember that time not too long ago where I started like deep cleaning the master bathroom and organizing the cabinets. I took everything out, and then a series of things happened in life, and all
yes.
those things just had to like sit there for a
But
couple
the
of
good,
weeks. It was driving me crazy,
the
but
thing,
I got it done. I got it
I
done, and I sent you
remember.
before and after pictures, and it
I
looks
love
so
it.
nice now.
I love it. And the thing about this is like I will have to get this done before we go to bed tonight. So that's great. Whether I'll just put it back in or organize it, we'll see. But
Yeah. I like how you said
anyways,
pivot. I like how you said
pivot.
like I had to pivot from my normal thing, and I feel like that's a good word for my day too.
Yes.
I feel like we have usually when things like that happen, we're sort of similar, like we're sort of aligned even in those weird things. But it feels like a pivot day. Like the things that I normally get done or I normally would want to get done or I had in my mind did not happen. But I will say I like to start my day with, and sometimes I don't sit down and actually like focus like I need to, but I like to start my day with a Bible reading app. That
Mm,
way I can kind of move around a little bit to wake
hmm.
up, or if I need to like make breakfast or do certain things, I have that little bit of quiet time in the morning. I every day do my daily Bible reading app on Spotify. And so I did that.
Ah,
But like I said, sometimes I get distracted and I don't listen in as closely as I need to. And I did my Stop the Spiral devotional, and that was really good. And the one phrase I remember from it specifically said, grace breathes more grace. Like, yes, thank you. We need that. Like, sometimes I want grace from other people, but I'm not really giving off gentle grace, gracious vibes. And so I stop and think, I need to just start the process. I need to be the graceful one. And I've never been graceful in my entire life. So it's a journey.
I thank you for sharing that. Thank you. And today we're reminded, thank you. I actually I did my stop the spiral. I will be honest with you. So sometimes my husband and I will get up and that's kind of like our coffee. We'll read that couple pages. We'll just chit chat. It's like a little 15-minute. We try to do that whenever he's not traveling. But I will be honest today, since I realized that I have my appointment, he texted me as he was reading it. I was filling out the doctor's forms on my phone. So I was not present. Sorry to my husband, I'll say that. But just
Okay,
it
you
makes it,
got it.
but it makes me laugh because so many times I think we try to be structured, we try to have control of things, we try to do all the things, and even throughout at least my experience in life, where like big things have happened that I couldn't control, I would think that I would be better at it. Like we had this conversation earlier, which we can touch on it however we want to later, but it's like these things happen, you think that at some point as we got older that we would be like, I don't have control of this. But as a human, it is so hard. So even I think it takes like mental strength. I think it takes patience, grace to just like this morning, okay, my daughter goes to a program 3 days a week. I am with her every other time, which is totally awesome. We have the plans. You have these plans we had to meet. But it's like pivoting where it's going to take, okay, this 2 hours is going to interrupt. Like, how are you going to handle it? Right.
Yeah.
That's something small. There's bigger things in life that happen that we both know happen. But I think that grace breeds more grace with ourselves and others is very true to where we're going in, especially with Thanksgiving, especially with the holidays, especially with our family, which I'm just going to pivot and say, I sat down with your family on Friday with my family for the first time to dinner in over 8 years.
Yeah.
Let's
You're
just,
going to make me cry a little bit.
can
Yeah.
we just jump in that? Like,
I love it.
let's
Yes.
just jump in.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go. I just jumped in. I don't
No,
even
I was
know.
just going to say, like, what a blessing. Like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to get too emotional, but
No, you get emotional. I like you emotional, okay? Like you. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's okay to get
I like
emotional.
you emotional.
My husband
I,
likes when my husband likes when I'm emotional because I don't usually get emotional. I'm either really happy or really mad. So he's like, cry. Just
he
like,
wants to see
please.
that tenderness in you.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
not a bad thing. I doubt that he's like crawl like
Well, no,
like he wants
sometimes
to
he
make
would
you cry.
no, he would probably rather me cry than like, be mean. But anyway,
Oh,
something that
that's
up.
a
So
hard thing to do. Sometimes it's like a self-protection thing of like instead
it
of
is oh
feeling weak, I'm gonna be strong and take control, right?
yes.
Anyway,
Yeah. So
that's not what
okay,
we're
let's
talking about.
focus on this. So for real, like let's go back a little bit. We could tell a little bit about this story. Our families have been, I don't want to, is it estranged or just distant would be the word maybe for the past 8 years. maybe we can tell a little bit. I wouldn't mind going into that story and kind of talking about the healing process and what that looks like if you're in for it today.
Yeah, I did pin. So under our first episode, I did add the link to our chat from September about Suicide Prevention Awareness
Okay.
Month.
Okay.
So listeners can check there for more details on that. But it was definitely after the time we lost both of your parents, and there were just some strains, some other, I would say, mental health things in the family. Is that fair to say? Um, and I think everybody just sort of reacted differently, and you can take it from there.
Okay. So so as Jenny mentioned, my dad was in a motorcycle accident in 2006. My mom died by suicide in 2013. And I would say between his death and her death, there was some strain with the family. And Jamie's mom and my dad are brother and sister, and they were best friends. And they were quite, what is their age difference? They had a little gap,
They're
um,
13 years apart.
13 years. Um, and so all my summers, like growing up, ever since Jamie was born, like we were together. We'd stay at her house, they'd come to our house, we were together basically every holiday. And I know I moved away for a while. Life happened, but really pretty much until I'd say dad died. And then after my dad died, we moved my mom to where my brother and also Jamie's whole family lived, because in that area, to be closer, because I was living out of state at that time. That's another episode too about how that all worked. Because they say when you go through things like to wait a year, and we literally picked up my mom and we encouraged her to move pretty quickly. And like looking back, well, that's
Yeah.
another, yeah. That, anyways,
I
I've learned
think
a
there
lot
were
since
the
then.
concerns probably because of her history
Mental,
that they just
yes,
wanted her to be near to somebody who could kind of more be
yes,
there
but
for her and support her and make sure she was safe. And that was, I think,
yeah,
really difficult to do from a couple hours away.
it was. With that, we'll add in my mom was diagnosed with depression back in the 90s. I was 15. So that all was happening at once. And there's a whole journey there, which Jamie also
Yeah.
mentioned. We do have the link, and maybe we can put it in this one of kind of that story as well, with that, with her struggle with that. So anyways, I think after, so my mom passed away, and she was living within blocks of your parents. And I think probably since then is when the real kind of more struggle kind of came with our family. I don't want to say struggle, but just miscommunication, assumptions, grief started really happening. And really that's been, it'll be 13 years in February. And after mom died, now we were all still okay after that. Cause I remember going to your house a couple times, and then
A little
Nanny,
bit, yeah.
yeah, our nanny pants, bless her little heart, rest in peace. She's,
That's
gosh,
our parents' mother. So she
yeah,
was kind of like the central glue, and then the two of
yes,
them, and then
yeah. So Nanny is Jamie's mom and my dad's mom. And she died, after she died years later. I don't remember how many years it was after mom. Well,
I
five,
think
at
it
least five.
was two.
No, because yeah, it was a while. Because mom died in 13, Nanny didn't die until 2000 and like
17.
18 to 17. Yeah, 17. So, anyways, between mom and Nanny's passing, our family just got more distant. We'll just leave it there. Um, and after time, I think there was we don't have to go into all the details because I know there's different sides to it, but I think that I was actually talking to my sister-in-law after our recent visit. We were thinking about the situation. I was like, it was just so nice to be with y'all, because they didn't. My sister-in-law had to work, my brother had to do something, so it's just me and my immediate family, my husband and my daughter on this past weekend. But she was so happy, like, to hear the stories. It was just so nice to hear stories of growing up, that we were just really talking about it. And it's like, you have to think back during that time when everything happened, like what everyone was going through, like individually, how we lost mom, everyone's different relationships. And one of the things that I will put a pin in it, I'm kind of going all over it, that Jamie recently said to me in this past however long we've been speaking again. And it really touched me, kind of made me think about things just on a different level. Is like, you have to think about my mom, which is my Aunt Kathy. Like, she lost her best friend, her brother. Then she lost my mom, and my mom and Aunt Kathy were also very close. They were very good friends. And then she lost her mom, and then she also lost my family, our us, like my brother, me, us. And I'm so glad you shared that with me because it just puts things in perspective, and we can pause for a second and gather ourselves. But I really just want to stop there for a second because that's important.
Yeah. And I wasn't saying that to make you feel guilty or
No,
anything like that. I think, like you said, everybody was going through different things. I think probably self-protecting. And I don't even know if we want to like get into all those dynamics right now because I don't want it to come across like any sort of like blame or anything like that. But like, I think in the moment, everybody just kind of saw where they were at and what they were feeling, and we talked about this in the episode in the what we did in September about kind of checking in with each other. But
right.
yes, yeah, I don't want to take away from where you're going with that. But yeah, we were all going through things. I mean, yes, it was hard enough to lose all of these people from passing away, and but then when you add to it the element of then people distance or separate or just like the domino effect. And I think that was what I was getting at. It's like I think going through the mourning process for some people it could be easier if we're all together, like we can mourn this together, but then I don't know. Anyway,
No, no, I
we
like
can
no,
cut that.
no. I think you're right. I think that we need to talk because here's the thing with grief. And I mean, I know this is getting close to the holidays, so really, like we say process. I know we've talked about that word. Like, it's not really a process. And anyone that's lost someone that they've loved, including I know you, your parents, me, my family, like we all know that whether we recognize that or not or talk about that, but like it's like one of those things. Like, you could just be doing something normal and something comes up that you remember that person by, and you're like, and I used
Yeah.
to do this, or and what was kind of cool about this last weekend is hearing your mom speak about my parents. Sorry, my watch. Speak about my parents in front of my daughter because
Oh,
like
yeah.
there are things, and I know she was actually playing with your kids. She didn't care about us, but I'm just kidding. There are things though.
She was
There
distracted.
there are things that I don't remember about my parents. There are things that I don't remember about my childhood
Yeah.
that your parents or even you know to give her, right? So we come into this element as I maybe just getting older, maybe having kids, maybe healing, maybe going to therapy, all church, all the things.
All of it. Yeah.
Um, does that, and I think it's so easy for people, and I'm not saying it's easy because anyone that goes through that and was going to walk in and see your aunt after not really being there for 8 years for no real reason, there was no anger, but just like literally distancing yourself, like that was not easy to do. It was not easy. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. And so I just, and it's not bad, it's just it was great. It was just like you told me it would be. I didn't even think about it twice, but I think we
Mm-hmm.
all have to come to that decision in ourselves, like, where do I want my peace in life? It doesn't,
Yeah.
in life. And for me, I think with my current losses of, you know, the babies, moving and doing things, having my daughter now, knowing what I want to create for her, also know what it's like to have things taken from you and to not have explanation, like my parents being gone, like I think it's just made me shift a little different. Now I could also shift the other way, right? Because it's easier just to shift the other way, put stuff behind you, not talk about it. Absolutely easier, right? Like, but what kind of life do we want to create for ourselves? Just like when you and I kind of started connecting the last couple of years, we realized we were aligned on so many levels. Like, you had begun your own healing journey, which with your past and your things, with your children and your husband, right? And then we aligned together. And actually, I will say, we can talk about this too. When we first kind of started really talking again, Jamie was kind of mad at me a little bit. I kind of want to talk about that. She was a little mad at me in that little message. And that's how we kind of reconnected though, because it was like, hey, like, how are we feeling? Right. So I want people to know like it is messy. It's not just like this button you push and you go through these
Yeah.
feelings. Like you and I have had to have some really deep and real conversations where we've been like, you've hurt me, but then also like you've hurt me, but I don't know why, and like had to kind of go back and forth. And luckily we're both in a place where we can hear each other. And that takes practice. It takes some
Time and
time.
maturity and healing. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I guess it probably came across as mad. It was just really hurtful. And I think there were times even over the years in the earlier years where I probably texted you and I was just like, I just don't even talk like I'm just gonna delete you from every like you've just kind of gone off on your own life. And I think for me I was sitting there kind of with this expectation of like I mean literally we all had our own lives. Like I was like having like getting married, we had little kids, raising them. I was moving out of state. Like you were doing your thing in another state. Like we just life things were happening too. So it's not like we were both just like sitting in the same place, just like not talking to each other.
No,
But there were definitely moments for me where it was like, I think we just like wouldn't hear from you for a long time, but you were living your life, you were doing your things, you were figuring your things out like you needed to. But then I get like these little glimpses of like hope, I think. And then not hear from you for a long time. And it's like, I think I always wanted the relationship. And I think just the timing of everything we were both living, it just didn't align. But when I get those little glimpses of hope, like it would be more frustrating. My brain is very like, I'm all in or I'm all out. And I don't like ambiguity. I don't like the messy middle. I don't like what feels like purgatory. Sometimes you're just like waiting in this middle phase of like, it's probably the control thing. Like I want in or I want out. I want to know it. I need a direction. And so I would come to these points. Remember like years ago when I was still living in that town and I was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna delete like I guess it sounds childish now, but in my mind it was like to protect myself, I feel like I just need to like cut it all off and not have any expectation because that to me was more hurtful. And then I think again several years later we had some kind of conversation where I was just like it was just weighing on me and I needed to reach out. And so I reached out. And then when I did, the day that I did, I found out you had a friend who had just experienced a tragedy. And then I felt terrible.
oh,
And
how
it
was
was
it?
like, it was messy is the word. Like you nailed it. It was messy.
And I did not bring this up to make you feel guilty. And I live in that space because I also obviously cut people out. I didn't like speak to you guys for a long time and things would
Yeah.
happen, right? Because so here's the thing, we all are in our own worlds. We all are in our own worlds. Like you just nailed it. I love it. You just nailed it on the head. We are all literally living. So in my little world, I am like going through this loss of a baby and it made me realize like I want my family and then I
Mm-hmm.
reach out to y'all and I tell you all these things. I'm also hormonal and here's these things and then let's all get together. Well then, a few months later, well, I lost something else. And then you hear from me and then you don't. But to you, to someone who doesn't know all the details, yes, I could totally see how that's like, okay, like what is happening? And looking back even for myself, like I know you're not making me try to feel ashamed. So I'm not like neither one of us are doing that. But I think that we all
No.
just live in our worlds and that's how we react to things. So we literally had this
Right.
conversation a little bit ago is like, imagine living in a world where we stay in our lane and we don't assume anything. And if someone reaches out to us, cool. If not, cool too. Because here's my thing, and this is what I preach to a lot of people really over the course of the few years because I've really had to learn this is well, one, you mentioned expectations. We cannot have expectations of anyone. You could walk out tomorrow and someone could punch you in the face. Like what all you have control of, all I have control of is my reaction.
Right.
Sometimes that's hard. But with this
Yeah.
situation, going back to our situation here, I can definitely see where that's like a confusing for you. But and then, for me on the other end, like I was just again living in my own reality of the loss of the parents and then moving on and then trying to find my peace and you're finding your peace and we're all just trying to survive. That's what it is. Everyone in this world
Yeah.
is just trying to survive the best they can.
Yes. That's
Doesn't mean it's
exactly.
perfect.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is I wasn't even trying to like cast that on you. I think like that was just your reaction or what you felt like you needed to do. Everybody has like a go-to reaction. You know what I mean? Like some people want to withdraw. I'm more of like a press in. Like if there's a problem, I want to like jump into it. And usually like those two opposite people marry each other, right? So like I'm the one that's like, let's talk about this, like let's deal with it. Whereas other people are like, I don't want to talk about it, you know? And that's just, but I'm learning a lot about that too. But anyway, all that to say, like, I'm not trying to like put any like blame or shame.
No,
That's
I
just
don't
what it
think we,
was.
yeah. And I love that we are here now. So it's taken I'd say the last like year, you and I have really built this like relationship up until probably the last like 6 months where we like, well, now we're doing this, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
and it has opened me up to things. It has helped me in my other relationships with even my other sides of the family and even
Mhm.
friends, like talking about hard things. I'm at this place now where it's like, practice what you preach. I've preached for a long time about mental health awareness, about being vulnerable, about speaking the things. I don't think I've lived it a lot, to be
Mm.
honest. A lot of it's because of probably trauma, the things. Uh, but I'm also tired of making excuses for that. We all go through stuff. We all go through
Yeah.
hard things. And so I think it's up to us to like make a decision. And that's us as saying, like, oh, I met with your family. It was beautiful. Well, it took a long time to get there. It wasn't just like, oh, let's all just get together. It took a long time. And
Yeah.
um, I just really see a future for my daughter. And I will always try to be better for her. Doesn't mean I'm perfect at all, but I just want her to know what that looks like. She loves people, she loves family, she loves
Mhm.
y'all. And she's met you twice now. Now she's met my aunt and uncle and another cousin, two other your other two siblings. She hasn't met one anyway. Um, yeah. So going to the holidays, I feel like that kind of for me amped it up a little bit where kind of more excited about this holiday season. And also because
Yeah.
I'm not hormonal right now. So we talk about that a
Yeah.
lot. I'm not pregnant or like losing a baby. I'm not joking about that. I laugh when I get nervous. But it's nice to just go in and be here and then have that to be the start of the holiday season. Thank you for that. Thank you for opening your home. Because let me tell you, it could have been very easy for you. I was telling my husband before we went, I go, you don't understand. Like, it's not like we ever did anything mean, but like that whole push and pull thing, like it would have been easy for you at some point to be like, listen, I love you. You've hurt me. I don't know why you're not talking to me, but like, I don't want to do this. And that's what the world will teach you. That's what our world will teach you. If something makes you uncomfortable, get it out of your life. That's what our world will tell you, right? Like if it's not for you, it's against you, or just like look the other way. And
Yeah.
so thank God for you who's just forgiving. And then even for the conversation, why to you? Because you were like ready to cut me off as something in me is like reach out to her and talk to her. And that's when I was like, we need to talk on the phone. Because you at that email that you sent, it wasn't mean. It was just like, I love you. I wish you well. And in another world, I would have been like, okay, like cool. But something in me was like, we got to talk. And we talked for an hour and a half on the way home. You remember that?
Yeah.
From oh yeah, and that kind of opened this. And I'm so glad that we did that. Thank you.
Yeah. And that was a couple years
That
ago
was
at
two,
this
yes. Yeah, it
point.
was 2 years ago actually. Yeah.
Um, I think the topic of like this whole like cutting toxic people thing out of your life needs to be a big conversation that we have because I feel like that is such a dangerous road that people go down. And I'll say, like, when I was going through this, I was still living in that town. Let's see, this would have been 2014, maybe 2014, 2015, when I first was having those feelings. And I really never felt like we didn't really have that like social contagion on social media yet of people saying, like, you're toxic, I'm cutting you out of my life. For me, I was just getting tired of like, it felt like misleading or like toying with my emotions or something from my perspective. And I could feel myself wanting to go there. And that's when I could have been even hormonal when I said, I don't know, but that's when I would get emotional and try to say something or try to self protect. But I will say, yes, I had those moments where I said that and reached out and we kind of had our thing. But most of the time in between when all this was happening, there was a lot of prayer about like, God, what do I do with this? Because yes, we need to have like sometimes with people who are and you're not, but if someone is in your life who is dangerous, yes, you have to have that boundary. There are times for that. but for me, I could not stand feeling, I guess the best way to describe it is like feeling like a root of bitterness was coming in. And I couldn't stand that feeling in myself. And so, there were probably nights of like tears and prayer trying to figure out like what is my best approach to this. And I very, very strongly started feeling like stay vulnerable, stay open, stay loving, and kind of like long before we ever really heard this phrase, but kind of like let them. Like, I can love you even if you decide to be way over there. And if you ever decide to come back over here, I'm going to love you the same. I think I even told you all back then, like, if you need to do that, that's great. If you want to come here, my door's open. Like, I always try to maintain that because that's how I was able to keep peace. And obviously, like, there were times when it would come up and I'd reach out and we'd have conversations. But the majority of the time, even if those other feelings did come up, it would lead me like my prayer time would lead me back to like just stay open. So I think there's a way to stay open and vulnerable and loving people. Like it doesn't matter what this other person, do you love this person? Yes. Let them make their choices. Let them go do their thing. Obviously stay safe. It wasn't an unsafe situation. That would be a whole different topic. And so by the time we started talking, because we reconnected, you said again a couple years ago when I sent that message, but then I think there was not a lot of communication and you were going through some really hard times yourself. And during those times, we texted a little bit. And then I think it was just earlier this year when I was finding out that I was probably going to need to leave my job. And then like the more we talked about that and I was feeling called to coaching and then like all these little pieces started coming together of like, oh my gosh, like we both like left our jobs, we're both coaches, we're both, and like we just start talking about things and going through things and communicating, and it's like it's just been such a like a fun healing process, I think. But by the time like this came around, it was like, yeah, like this is great. My like there is no bitterness because I couldn't let the bit. It's like I just love you. Like
I love you.
it's just it's
You,
so
I,
easy. It's just I love you.
you,
That's it.
you literally, thank you for sharing all that because literally you just said the process of how to pray things through when you lose hope. And what your process that you just did and
Yeah.
that you've said for the last however many years, you talk about what people do. Like, so I'm a runner, but like physically, mentally too. Like I know I do have marathons, but like mentally, and like that's the go-to. So
Mm-hmm.
you talk about like deleting people. I've had multiple times. I've literally gone, I deleted everyone off my Facebook. I've done that. I get back on. I delete it. I don't talk to these people, it's taken a lot of healing. I think a lot of it has to do with trauma from life, even as a baby. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's taken years of finally looking in the mirror, right? And seeing what, like, again, what we can control. And you were doing the same thing too. Like, okay, I'm going to give it to God. Like, what can I do? Like, I'm going to love them no matter what. Like, it is a true practice. So, first, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you're my little baby cousin and who you are as a woman. I'm going to start crying. Like, thank you for being you.
Oh,
And thank you for just like loving my family. The first time that you met my daughter this last summer, the way you just embraced her, it was just like, it's just like home. It's pretty cool. Um, so really that just sums up our no, but I mean, the journey of it, it's not always pretty. And you talked about like we get in these little things, and it just reminds me of even this last few years and me going through things. And like the one thing that I've really fought probably since losing Madison has been bitterness and resentment and like not feeling
mm,
that. Um, with what you're saying, I know they're different situations, but the feeling of bitterness and resentment that come in when someone's hurt you or something's been taken from you
yeah.
is a real thing. And we can do a whole different conversation about that. But just what you're talking about is a praying through and like the back and forth and the roller coaster and then the more losses, because in between that 8 years, I know you had different losses and I did. And in the last 4 years, like life keeps happening, time keeps moving, no matter what we want. And I remember there's been so many times in life, losing mom, dad, nanny, the girls, like you want time just to like stop. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden you look up and I haven't seen your family in 8 years, which I saw throughout my whole
Yeah.
life pretty much, right? And I'm just so thankful for like second and third chances. And I'm so thankful like that we have this now. And I know so many people, you look at like broken families or miscommunications or things that have gone out of control. And you're like, oh, it's just been so long. Like, they're like, I would encourage anyone that's listening to like just not give up on things like that. Like do the work
Hmm.
because it's worth it. And it's not always pretty. And there's been times that I've literally like wanted to run away even now. And thank goodness for my husband because he is the one who got me to settle down and stay. He is the one who has been my
Hmm.
strength. He is the one who sat through all of my craziness. And anyone that's listening or that does listen who knows me knows that I have some of those. But like there's hope. Like I believe in miracles. I believe in God. I believe in prayer. Has it been pretty? No. Has it been hard? Yes. Have I wanted to give up? Absolutely. The reason that I'm standing right now after the last 4 years is because of my child, because of my husband, and well, God, number one, but because of those things as well, right?
Yeah.
And this is just kind of like me and you, and what we get to do is just kind of like, I don't know, an extra like
It's so
thing,
it's amazing. It's such a blessing. It's such like I prayed for this for years.
And you're came true.
Like everything that happened on Friday, like I prayed for that for years because you said like the holidays are coming up. Every year the holidays would come around. And of course we all kind of built our own things, like I have my family now and we still celebrate and have a good time together, but there was just always this void. Of course, there's always going to be the void of the people that we lost, but there's this extra void of like these other people that we always spend the holidays with that we love and our family. And so it does give me great hope knowing that um, I wish I texted you the other day after you guys left, and now I wish I could remember what I said to you.
Do
But
you
it
want me to read
was,
it to you?
yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Yeah, read it to me,
I'm
please.
gonna go read it to you. It was very sweet. As I remember I was going to bed that night and it just gave me like a piece of my little heart. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Do do do
You
do.
know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
one. It was
It was just like, wow.
what day was that? Was it Saturday night? I'm on Sunday.
Maybe it was Friday or Saturday. Friday or Saturday. But
Oh,
anyway,
it's
while you're looking at that, I will just say
oh,
that
I'm ready. Okay, good.
there could have been, like you said, there could have been, like walls or hard feelings. But you and I had a lot of conversations just this year since we started seeing more alignment. We use the Marco Polo app, which is really great because I feel like it gives opportunity to fully speak and then fully listen. So that might be a good tool that people could use to communicate. But even if you don't, I think some of the things I've learned, even just like through coaching, is like learning how to like press in and like ask questions and listen and don't make it about you and ask the open-ended questions and stay curious and things like that. Like it takes both people really wanting to listen and hear each other. And so thank you for doing that with me because I think if we had not been able to do that, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. That was great. Okay, this is a really good way to segue to the oh,
Mm-hmm.
peace. Okay, so this was Friday, or this was the evening after we visited. This is a message from Jamie. Sorry. Once we reconnected and got past whatever was there before, it felt like a part of me was able to breathe again. That just couldn't for years. And it feels like that breath deepened even more tonight, having you all together with us. So thanks for that. Love you. Good night. You know, thank you for the resources, really like leaning in. My biggest advice would be like whenever there is bitterness, resentment, especially after like losses or after like losing those we love, it is so easy because that's how we feel. I don't care if you're a Christian, not a Christian, it doesn't that's how you feel. When you lose someone you love, it's like it's not fair. And so even as a Christian, it's like I was always like, they're in heaven, they're there. And I really feel like that. And like after dad died, like did all my things, and then I moved, with my mom, and I checked on her every day. And then when she died, I started running for her. I'm gonna run in her honor because she had depression and couldn't run anymore. So I started doing all that, right? But my I'm not gonna say bitterness, but my distance was to that of y'all, right? Like, so I was
Mm,
leaning into the running and mental health and like doing better and being in communication and like living for someone who couldn't live and like being there and wanting community. But at the same time, and I wasn't even meaning to do this, right? It was just easier to push that away. A couple things, and we'll touch on this too, is you said it before, is when you lose someone you love, I do think it's easier maybe not to think about it as much. So yeah, going back for holidays, being with each other brings back a lot too. And
yeah,
at the time I wasn't thinking about that, but looking back now, I definitely think that's what was happening. And then the assumptions and making things up in the head. And then, in our head, you think when you're grieving, people should be expectations of how people should show up for you, right? Like all those
yeah,
things happen. So my advice would be anyone that is grieving, that has lost someone they love, just take a minute and breathe and get help. Talk to someone, whether it's someone at church, a therapist, a good friend, someone that is a positive light, because we all have different people in our lives, right? So you have to know
mhm,
who you're talking to. Like I'm very careful about who I share certain things with in life. Um, but just thank you for like healing with me. Like we're still
mm,
healing. And I think that that's what's so cool about doing this is 10 years ago, we were in very different places than we are now. And probably
yeah,
mad at each other and like being like, well, you did this, or why did trying to make each other understand. Sometimes forgiveness is not trying to get the other person to understand us. Forgiveness is just
yeah,
forgiving, like you said, having a common like I love you. Some things just don't matter anymore, and just moving on
yeah,
from that. And sometimes that takes more than once. Like there may be something that comes up next week, and you're like get annoyed with me, like, well, that one time you did that. But it's a conscious effort just to move forward. And I think that that is just
yeah,
literally a practice.
yeah, for sure. And if you can build the rapport with each other like we have, like if things came up, I could probably come to you now and be like, "Hey, this came up. Can we talk about it?" And it wouldn't be awkward because we like make space for
Right.
that type of thing and we understand.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Thank you for talking
thank
through
you.
this.
Yeah.
Going to the holidays. Okay. So,
If you would have
uh,
told me even 1 year ago today, this is what's going to happen, I'd be like, I mean, it sounds great, but whatever. Like,
and I just want you to like, I didn't like it. My heart is like listening to what you're saying, and like you prayed for us to be close again. And it's not like I didn't pray for it. I was just in my own world, just surviving for all these years.
you were
Uh,
doing what you needed to do.
right.
From
But
my perspective, it was like people left me. But from your
yes,
perspective, you were doing what you needed to do. And I'll say there have been other people in my life that I grew up with or I was close with, and they left, and it was very painful. And I have had to look back even years later and go, you know what? It might have hurt me, but it probably wasn't about me. Like
same.
it just wasn't. And it's okay, you know?
Absolutely. That was a good one.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I don't even know what I was saying. I was blabbering, but I just, I'm really leaning into this, practicing what I preach. And ever since we've done this, really, it's opened me up to healing other relationships. Also knowing just like when to say something, when not to. I have a hard time with that because I'm a fixer.
Mm.
Um, so we're working through this with everyone, working through this with each other, right? Before we end, tell me what is what do you guys do for your like Thanksgiving? Like, what are you guys doing this year? What are you looking forward to doing? How about that?
So we moved back to Oklahoma from Texas in 2018. And ever since that year, we moved back in October, and I told my mom I will host Thanksgiving at my house if you like, because she usually would do both at her house, Christmas and Thanksgiving. So we've done it here every year since 2018. I just open the house, we talk to whoever from the family can make it and kind of we sort of like potluck style.
Hmm.
My mom usually makes the turkey still, even though I'm a grown woman, I've never made my own turkey. And the guys usually smoke like smoke ribs or something. And then we all make different sides. I always make Nanny's deviled eggs, and a few other things. And so we just kind of have like a text. I mean, by now we kind of all know what we're going to bring, and we just do it. We show up. We have a great time. If the weather's nice, we play outside, and the kids run around and play cornhole and play games and just hang out. So, what about you?
I love that. By the way, will you please send me Nanny's deviled egg recipe?
Yes.
Because I would like to make that
I don't know that
this
I
year.
really have like a specific
Okay. Well,
recipe,
you
but
tell
I'll
me
do my
what to do.
best.
Just tell me how you do it and
They're
maybe write it down.
they're probably not even any deviled eggs, but in
It
my head
doesn't,
they are because the ingredients are kind of the same.
it doesn't matter.
Uh,
Just tell me how you make deviled eggs because I don't, I've
okay.
always wanted to, and I remember them because I always had them at Nanny's house as well,
Yeah.
and I've never made them.
Honestly, if
And
she
by
was
the
here, she'd
way,
probably try them and be like, "Ew, that's not how I make them."
Jamie Dawn.
Jamie John. Anyway, yeah, I will for sure. So tell me about yours.
So my Thanksgivings have been very different for many years because I've kind of been all over, but we've been out at our property now for 5 years.
Oh.
And we kind of did it during COVID. So we've over the years we've kind of done potlucks out here a little bit, but they've changed. My in-laws, our family, my husband's side of the family is all kind of spread out. They're in up in Corpus area, and then his sisters are both in Louisiana. I just had a new baby niece, and I'm
Mm.
really excited because this year we are actually going. His grandmother used to live in Dallas and then moved to Austin a couple of years ago. So this year, my husband and I are literally the day before Thanksgiving going to just go for the night and meet his parents and his sister and her husband there just for literally the night, coming back Thanksgiving Day. And then my other sister-in-law is going to fly in with the baby
Mm.
and we're having a potluck out here. So he has some aunts and uncles that also live about an hour away, and they're going to come out here the Saturday after. So it's going to be like a double one. But we are also we do like potluck style. My husband is the cook of the family. Now that I've not been working like a you know normal job, I do cook more. But literally, he is the chef. He's amazing. But he will smoke a turkey and then
Mm.
we'll all bring sides and he will make his grandma's stuffing. And this year I've decided I'm going to make homemade biscuits and cornbread. I say homemade, but it's just not the store bought. I'll just make cornbread and we're going to use that for the stuffing. Trying to be a little
Mm.
more scrunchy. We've talked about that in our health stuff. I'm trying to do that more. And of course, I'll probably have a sourdough loaf. And I also just made sourdough chocolate chip cookies.
Mm.
I gave you some. I made another recipe, and I also gave Jamie sourdough starter, and we're gonna get her on here. In fact, we're gonna
Mm.
FaceTime sometime. You have a month to mess with it. Leave it alone. Um,
Okay. Just
but
right around Christmas. Perfect.
I'm really looking forward to it. And my little girl, she doesn't really have any cousins her age. Well, now she has your kids, but they're still older. So I'm
Okay.
excited to get her and her new little cousin together, who just turned 7 months. So family. We're
I love
excited.
it.
It is.
I
It's
love
pretty
it.
cool. It's pretty cool. But the potluck thing is an idea because growing up, I don't think they really did that. I think that the person at the house that like cooked everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people would be like, I'll bring a casserole. There were just a lot of casseroles, it feels like,
Yeah.
growing up in the Bible Belt. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
But yeah.
casseroles.
Yeah. It's a casserole Thanksgiving. But here it's like I'm actually like this year because normally we've done it in the past, like, oh, we'll just get together after the holidays. But a couple of his aunts and uncles, like I said, they're like an hour out. So that's like considered our local family. But
Yeah.
they'll just come out. But it's gonna be a little chilly, but we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And I'll say it was so nice to meet your husband. I guess I had met him at the 5K just really briefly several years ago, and then I met him at Nanny's funeral,
I
which
think
we
he met
talked
all of
about as
you.
like not a place to like really get to know somebody.
He met all of you
Um,
there, I
but
think.
to have like your whole family here together and like seeing our husbands chatting and hitting it off and like my brother-in-law, like everybody, yeah, it was such a blessing just having the whole family
Oh, it was.
together. And greatest gift at like that's my Christmas gift. It's it. Like tell my husband he doesn't need to do any shopping because I'm good for the year. Like I have everything I need now.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that on our holiday episodes, like gifts and stuff, but
Oh yeah,
that could be
for
a whole
sure.
thing. Ending
Okay.
this with stress less, just breathe, being grateful. I'm really honestly like getting up and being grateful for things has helped me kind of just stay positive and just know the holidays are stressful for everybody. They just I'm not being negative. Just they can be, but like you and I in our season right now of being able to like be home right now, like I really want us to focus on that, like getting our houses together because the season's not gonna last forever. Something else is gonna come up. And I think
Hmm.
last season, like last holiday, I was kind of in the middle of all, we're in the middle. I'm just tired of stressing about stuff, is what I'm trying to say. And like, I'm literally
Yeah.
trying to move towards that. So remind me of that whenever I'm trying to like dust my baseboards because someone's going to like see them. Like, we live here,
Yeah,
right?
I think we're both going into this like a holiday season of like levity that we didn't have in the past for different reasons. And we also know that not everybody is in that boat, and it can still be really hard season for people for various reasons. So
Take a beat, right?
take a beat, give each other space and love and understanding and press through the mess and come out the other side like us.
I love you.
I love you.
Till next time.
Till next time. Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We truly hope this episode has touched your heart.
If someone came to mind while you were listening, please feel free to share this with them.
And if you have any questions or feedback for us, you can reach us at allthingsunbrokenpodcast@gmail.com.
Have an awesome day.